Hey guys, Khan here. Today we're going to talk about how to prepare a resume. We have a worksheet which has been prepared from the British Council. If you're ready, let's get started. I'm not used to looking at the camera straight away. I have to always read my notes and proceed that way. So let's start reading. When you're applying for a job, a great CV is essential. Find out what to include and what to avoid for the best chance of getting an interview. Okay, so we have a little task here to solve. So it says, before reading, do the preparation task first, then read the article and do the exercises. From 1 to 8, we're going to match them from A to H. So neatly, what does neatly mean? Let's read the definitions. Possible in the future? No. Deliberately choosing some things and not others? Not yet. To bring attention to something important, directly connected with what is happening or what is talked about. Neatly means actually in a simple and tidy way. Neatly. So 1 is H. I don't know if you can write it, but let me just grab a pen. Just take the notes. So we said 1 is H. Bullet points. So bullet points is actually to bring attention to something important. But let's check it. To exaggerate is to make things bigger than it is. So that's G. 3 is G. I will return back to 2. To highlight is to choose that thing and not others. To highlight. So I can say that it is C. Highlight. 4 is C. To bring attention to something important. Potential. Potential is when you have something that you can be. Like, let's see. Possible in the future, yes. 5 is A. Let's look at 6. Layout is a structure. So layout, the way that something is designed or arranged on the page. The layout is 6 is, what did we say for 6? We said E. 6 is E. 7, selective. Selecting that option. So deliberately choosing some things and not others. Selective. B. 7 is B. 8 is relevant. The recent. So recent, directly connected with what is happening or being talked about. 8 is D. So 2 is bullet point, is symbols actually. Usually small black circles used in a text to separate each item in a list. Okay, so the answers are 1H, 2F, 3G, 4C, 5A, 6E, 7B, 8D. Yep, we solved this. Now let's get to our other exercise, which is a reading task. Writing a good CV. When you're looking for work, you need an attractive, clear, and memorable CV, which is curriculum vitae, that shows your potential employer all the skills and experience you have for the job. What should you include in a CV? This article mainly focuses on writing a UK-style CV. If you are applying for a job internationally, be aware that the standard length, format, and tone can vary from country to country. It's a good idea to check the expected format in the country or company you are applying for. Contact details. Make sure the potential employer has a way of contacting you. Include your full name, telephone number, and email address. Photo. In many countries, employers expect to see a professional-looking photo on a CV. In others, like the UK, Canada, or the United States of America, the law prohibits employers from asking for a photo. Prohibits. It is not legal. And it is better not to include one. Try to find out if it is usual to include a photo in the working environment you're applying to. Education. List and date the most important qualifications you have obtained, starting with the most recent. You can also include any professional qualifications you have. Work experience. List and date the jobs you've had and the companies you've worked for, starting with the most recent. It's usually enough to cover the last 10 years of your work history. Include your job title, responsibilities, and achievements in the job. If you have a lot of work experience, give the job titles, but be selective about which responsibilities and achievements you highlight. Reduce the detail about jobs that are less relevant to the role you are applying for and draw attention to the most important experience you bring. Skills. These could include the languages you speak, the computer programs you can use well, the class type of your driving license, and any other professional skills you might have that are relevant to the job you are applying for. So we have 8 useful tips. Before you start getting ready to list your qualifications and work experience, here are 8 useful tips to think about. Keep it short, but not too short. Your CV should be 1 to 2 sides of A4 paper. If you find you have got too much information, summarize and select the most relevant points. If it's shorter than a page, consider including more information about your skills and the responsibilities you had in your previous roles. Use active verbs. When you describe what you have achieved in previous jobs, use active verbs for a strong positive effect on the reader. For example, to make a change from was responsible for, use verbs like led or managed, for example, a team or project, created or developed a product, a positive atmosphere, delivered results, training, and provided support, training. Fill in the gaps. Avoid leaving gaps in your employment history. If you were traveling the world on maternity leave or looking after small children, include that in your CV. Depends. Make sure it's up to date. Always ensure your CV is up to date. Include your most recent experience at the top of each section. Don't exaggerate or lie. Your potential employer can easily check information about where you have studied and worked. Don't be tempted to lie or exaggerate about your expertise, because sooner or later, this will be discovered and may result in you losing the job. Depends. 6. Spend time on the layout. Make sure your CV is clear and easy to read. Use bullet points and appropriate spacing. Keep your sentences short. Line up your lists neatly and use a professional-looking font. For example, Arial font size 12. Check for mistakes. Mistakes on a CV create a bad impression. Use spell check, reread your CV, and ask someone else to check it for you too before you send it. And 8. Include a cover letter. When you send your CV to apply for a job, you should send it with a cover letter or email to introduce the application. The cover letter should show your personal interest in the role. Highlight the skills and experience you bring and encourage the employer to read the attached CV. Writing a good CV takes time and is hard work, but these tips and your effort will help you get the best possible start in your job search. Good luck. Depends. Again. Why I said depends is because these 8 tips that Worksheet provided, I don't agree with some of them, so that's why I said, it depends. I don't fully agree with these tips, but because it's on the worksheet, we can read it, and even though we shouldn't accept it as it is truly right, but we can, use that information into our benefit. Okay, so we have a task here. So we're going to check out if the sentences are true or false in the recent passage we just read. So it's always a good idea to include a photo. So many countries don't accept looking for photos, but many countries, so we should say, I think we should say true for this, because at the start it says employers want you to add photo. Here, in many countries, employees expect to see a professional-looking photo on a CV, but some countries prohibit. It is not legal. It is prohibited. You cannot do that. It is against the law that, like in the UK, Canada, and the USA, you can't add your photo because you will be charged. So I'm gonna say true for this, but in countries like the USA, Canada, and the UK, it's false. When you list your work experience, you should put the first job you did first. No, you should put the latest job you worked at the top, your recent job. So let's say you ended your job in 2021 and you ended your job in 2024. You have 2 job experiences. The 2024 one is going to be at the top, then the 2021, and so on and so on. The longer your CV is, the better it is. False, it should be in a not too short, but it should be short, and also it shouldn't be too long. You should bullet point your experiences, what you have achieved at that job role. Using active verbs rather than passive structures help to create a good impression. True, it will show you that you are confident in your skills, so active verbs is true. It is better not to mention periods of time when you were not in paid work. Not to mention, it says. In this passage, it is false. You have to write your gaps. For example, if you've been a mother or a father, you have to write in, I have I've made a gap because that's why. But for me, I don't agree with this, but in this passage, it is best to mention it. So for this one, it is false. You should always tell the truth on your CV. In this passage, it is true, but I don't fully agree with this. My personal experience and my personal opinion. But for this one, it's true. Presentation and small mistakes don't matter. It's the content that's important. False. You should always check your mistakes and your grammar and your word, because it will first impressions count, and no one wants to hire someone who does spelling mistakes and so on. They want to see you are truly prepared for that job role. Let me go down. Cover letters are nice to have, but not entirely necessary. For this text, it is false. You should include a cover letter. It is necessary for this one. Okay, so we have another task. So put the details in the correct groups. Okay, so we have skills, education, and work experience. I'm gonna get my pen and paper again. Responsible for production in a reputable Seoul-based design firm. So this looks like work experience, but I can come back to it later. Developed over 200 graphic design projects. I'm gonna get back to that later because I'm trying to understand what we are doing here. Okay, so diploma. Okay, let me just start with the easy one. Diploma in graphic design, York College is education. Okay. MA in creative arts and design, Leeds Art University, education. BA in philosophy, politics, and economics is education. So these three are education. Proficient with Microsoft Office, Adobe Photoshop, and Sketch. This is skills. High levels of this is skills. And excellent communicator who brings friendliness, confidence, and empathy to leadership and delegation skills is skills. Responsible for production, work experience. Developed over 200 graphic design projects, work experience. And led a team of designers to develop graphic and production materials, work experience. As you can see, the writer here has used active verbs here. Okay. And at the end we have, which tips do you think are the most useful for writing a good CV? I would like you guys to comment down below for this question. This is your homework. If you made it this far, congratulations. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will leave the worksheet link in the description. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments. Also, any constructive feedback will be appreciated. Until our next video, take care.